Welcome to the City of Palatka Community Redevelopment Agency meeting, December 9th, 2024, at 5 p.m. I'm going to call the meeting to order with an invocation by Pastor Mulberry and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Ms. Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. Father, again, thank you for all your many blessings. We thank you for how you blessed us throughout this day. You brought us through this day. We give you praise, glory, and honor now. Pray, God, that you will give guidance and wisdom this board members, God, that you will show them how to do what you do. Because we're looking to you and we're depending on you to carry us to where we need to be. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. Krantz, please. Madam Clerk, sorry, got to get used to the name change.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Tammy McCaskill, not present for the record. Commissioner Justin Campbell.
Present.
Commissioner Will Jones is connecting to audio, so if I may, I'll call him present. He's on the Zoom. Commissioner Rufus Forum.
Present.
Miss Teresa Jackson. Present. Commissioner Walton Pelletier.
Present.
Mayor Robbie Correa.
Present.
You have a quorum in the chambers, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Welcome, Commissioner Palacia, to the Community Development Agency Board.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from October 14th, 2024?
Yes, motion to approve, Mayor. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. I'm going to open the floor up to public comments. 3 minutes, please. Just give your name and city or town of residence, and please keep it professional and polite. Cheryl Roach.
Cheryl Roach, Palatka. I received in the mail a guide to living in a historic district. It's a 3-fold flyer from the city, specifically from the planning department. It talks about what homeowners need to do to obtain a COA. I was struck by one paragraph about the aims of the guide. It talks about understanding the benefits, responsibilities, and processes of living in a historic district. It speaks of preserving our heritage and the unique living experience of our historic districts. It struck me that the 17 gas lights on the street corners of my neighborhood have been dim for years. They are lit once a year by neighborhood donations for the month of December. These lamps are a major character factor of the South Side and are being severely neglected. I have reached out to the board of directors at the Palatka Gas Authority to get some clarification on the maintenance, repair, upkeep, and cost of the lamps. I have not heard back from them. This year, the donation fee for the monthly cost of one lamp was $30. Using basic math, the yearly ballpark cost is around $6,000 for 17 lamps. I requested a report on the current TIF funds for the South Historic District. I did not receive it, understandably so. I do know that Ms. Carty was out of town. My recollection is around $100K that is in the South Historic District, give or take, not sure, with maybe $20K spent, again, give or take, not sure. Regardless, I am positive that there are funds in the South Historic District TIF funds to get these lamps lit in 2025. I implore the CRA board to take their responsibility of improving the historic district as seriously as the city's expectations of the residents. I am acutely aware that this should apply citywide. I do not want to remind the board again that this is a CRA meeting. And improving and preserving the integrity of the historic districts is what your goal should be. That means spending TIF funding in the appropriate districts to help revitalize the neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Is everybody else here for public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to regular business. Discussion directional Lammer Arts Center rental.
Yes,
Excuse me.
Okay, go ahead.
Prior to us moving on, I know it was public comment. Generally in our other meetings, we are awarded the opportunity to respond or get some guidance. I would like to do some follow-ups with regards to some of the points that Ms. Roach brought to us to see if we are able to get some type of resolution, at least to the information that she requested, and definitely bring something back to the CRA in the future with regards to what it would take in order for us to get those lights or the gas lights working appropriately throughout the year and not having to deal with citizens coming out of their pockets to do something that should be done by the city.
And historically, I'll just give you a little piece of history on this, because I was the president of the South Historic Neighborhood Association when the lights went off. They were historically, before that, paid for by the city and the gas authority. That ended up being a substantial cost that was ended. We then started to fund it twice a year during the 4th of July, Memorial Day holiday period, and then Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's period. The association, I'm talking about with association funds. We also had an adopt a light program where private citizens that lived in the neighborhood could adopt a light. I think we have to really check the CRA plan. This is a recurring utility cost, and I am not sure that CRA monies can be allowed for that purpose, but we will have to check into that, as Commissioner Campbell said. But that was a little history on it.
I appreciate you, Mayor. Thank you.
and Mayor, Commissioner, I will make sure and review the budget to let you be aware of funds that are available for that cost.
And even if we can take in some things in consideration, I know Mayor stated that it was an adopt-a-light. Maybe there are things we possibly can do in support that would probably help offset, but I would love for us to have the option of what can we do and what can we support as we move forth. Again, when you're in the historic district, I remember lights being the lamps being lit, and I think it does add to the aesthetics of those neighborhoods. And I would love to see that it's something that is year round and not just during the holidays, special holiday season.
There's also been discussion in the past about converting or getting new, I should say in this case, light posts that were electric versus gas and had the lights that looked like the bulbs that look like gas. That was another consideration for more permanent situation.
Okay, well, I'll follow up.
Research will just be needed.
So my question would be, what was the $6,000, was that to be lit for the entire year if it was?
That's just an estimate.
Okay.
I have not heard back from the Palatka Gas
Okay.
Authority. May I or not?
That was the question. I mean, she, let her, you don't mind
Normally,
sharing?
Yeah. Normally, no. And I think let's research it and we'll come back with the amount, the numbers that we need to have.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get the numbers from the gas authority.
Okay, hopefully we can work out something to
Thank
help in
you.
that regard.
On to regular business discussion direction, Larimer Arts Center rental. Is that you, Mr. Cartwright? Or is that you, Ms. Carter?
Cut, right? Yeah. If you could come up and amplify. You know, consistent with us trying to adhere to guidance that we're receiving from the commissioners. That's probably why this is here.
So, this is Eddie Cartwright, Community Affairs Director, 1900 Napoleon Street. I know this came on about because the Larimer Center contract or MOU has expired several years ago. And we have had several private entities want to look at trying to invest in being the leaseholder of that building. I know the River City Players, one of their organization chairman is interested in doing it. Miss Janetta Slatter had also expressed interest a couple months ago to try to also lease the building out. So with different people asking about the building, we thought it'd be best to put it back out to bid, make sure it would be fair before we go into that.
And at the same time, we wanted input from the commissioners as well.
Okay,
Right.
so are we bringing this to the CRA though, or because it's just,
Should that be this, in that CRA?
It's in the CRA.
oh, it's in the CRA district, yeah.
That was the
absolutely.
only reason
But-
why the
We
conversation.
have, so we should have voice our opinion now, I guess, opposed to in.
Correct. I just wasn't sure if this was even the entity to, but that's fine. Everybody, Commissioner Campbell, do you have some thoughts? I'm just going down the line. It's not personal.
Why not? I believe in the past we have had, or we've tried to correct, quite a few things where we had, individuals or organizations within some of our facilities without the proper, MOU and or leases. So I think it's proper to bring it back before us. And I also believe that we were also trying to make sure that we utilize our building for the best and better use. So again, in order for us to be fair and transparent, I love some of the work that the arts, Clam Arts has going there. But I think in order for us to be fair and knowing that they've been operating, under just basically nothing, for us to properly put it back out there and allow others who have, because I know it was brought to us before that out of 8 weeks throughout the year, River City players utilize it. And so there were some recent conversations and dialogue with regards to utilization of the facility. So there may be an opportunity of partnerships with not only who house there now, but other individuals that may be able to bring a little bit more life outside of the 8 weeks or the couple of weeks that is being utilized outside of the River City players.
Commissioner Forum?
Yes,
Thoughts?
I concur with Commissioner Campbell in that regards, because again, we did hear some of that from the last, I think the CRA meeting that we just had last week. So the utilization of that facility, if it can be very well coordinated between various groups who could potentially maximize the use without any, scheduling conflicts, that would be great. But we certainly would like to make sure that we bring some life to that facility, and that whoever utilize that facility, again, the onus will be upon them to kind of maintain that. It won't be something that the city would continue to have expenditures around. So that's what I have.
Commissioner Pelletier, any thoughts?
I'm just still taking it off.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured, but I didn't want to.
I'm taking it in.
Yeah.
Bear with me a little bit longer and I'll get with you.
Okay, Ms. Jackson?
I concur. I feel putting it out for bid and seeing, giving others opportunities and collaborating together would be the best direction.
All right.
And the Arts Council of Greater Palatka is the umbrella agency of the arts in the county, in the city of Palatka. And so they have been working, that's why River City operates there, River City Players. Is River City paying anything for the use and paying the utilities? Because I know the Arts Council pays all the utilities.
They said that from the conversation that happened the other night in the meeting, they stated that they pay a fee to
They-
utilize it.
They give a fee,
And
Yes,
consistently? There's some question about
conversation
that.
I've had with Mr. Denise, this question about that, and also I've had conversations with Mr. Kevin Scottsburg. So
Schabach,
it's some conversation and some answers that we need to get with that definitively, but they do pay some type of rent. And they sublease it.
But again, when we're talking about whoever has the primary lease of the building covering a lot of costs, there's a lot of cost to that building. It's
Yes.
still our building. It is a historic building listed on the National Register. I think the city has some obligation in terms of maintenance, at least for the exterior. If we're going to require a tenant to cover utilities and some interior things, that's fine, kind of like a condo arrangement. But I think the city can't negate their responsibility as well.
Thanks for the guidance, and we'll move forward.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jones here.
Pat, I'm sorry, Commissioner Jones. What's your thoughts? See, when you're in Zoom land, it's hard to remember you up there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone says. But what I also would like to see is those leases, we're gonna have to do something as far as the leases citywide. So for consistency, I think that we need to task Mr. Cutright and Ms. Carty to bring all of the leases that are current throughout the city to us for review. And if we have uniform rental or lease agreements, that would be best because we're having people come or organizations come with different amounts of leases that they're paying for different or sometimes the same square footage. And we need to make certain that we're doing the right things. And there's a matter of subleasing as well that we need to address. We lease it to an organization and then they sublease it. And there's a liability stuff that we need to have ironed out. And I haven't seen any of that. So before I wanted to go back out on the street, so I agree with that. But all those other details, we also need to have them ironed out before we get entities coming in and say, hey, yeah, we've been using it at this cost and they still want to use it at the same cost or no cost. And, it's time for an evaluation of all of them. And we actually agreed to that at one point, but I don't think we received the information that we requested as a commission. If I stand to be corrected.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Did you want to say something, Commissioner Boyle?
No, I mean, I concur with Commissioner Jones with this statement as it relates, but I think we did ask for the I guess if he was alluding to all the leases that we had in the city. I think we did ask for that at one point, and I think it's supposed to be some staff supposed to be gathering those and
Yes.
providing those to the city, to the board. And I like the other point that Commissioner Jones made as well, when you lease it out to the primary leasee, they they'll sublease, and that's something that, we need to make a policy as it relates to it could terminate that, and that need to be known up front because again, utilization of our public facilities should not be taken for granted.
We agree.
I want to bring some clarification to the information that was requested. The information that was requested, we did receive. We were supposed to workshop it in order for us to dive a little bit deeper. So I don't want it to make it appear as if staff did not provide us with the information that we requested. We just did not move forth with setting a date to workshop it so that we would properly be able to vet this and move forward. So with that said, if we're looking for direction, I'll make the request that we do set a workshop.
Okay.
So that we won't be going back and forth with regards to this, so that you'll know what you desire of us. So as you go out and get that information, you'll know what to bring back to us. Because I do believe outside of what Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Borum has stated, there may be some other things that we have not taken in consideration at this time. So I would just make the recommendation that we get with Sonny to see what dates may be available for CRA to come in. Because additionally, there are some other information or some other things that we possibly could put into that workshop to make it just more fruitful for us as we move forth. So I would make that recommendation that we look forward to doing a workshop so that we are able to give direction as we move forth with looking into these leases.
And not
also-
all of those properties are in the CRA either.
Correct. So it would be, for this particular meeting, it will be solely for those that are in the CRA district.
Got it. Thank you for guidance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fun?
Okay,
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Boyle.
But no, I just think you got to talk to get it off.
Just use the remote. It works.
It's just easier with the
Where's my remote? Okay, but anyway,
Just so you know, all of the remotes work for all of them. So if you end up with somebody else's remote, it still will work.
Okay,
Don't worry about
go
it.
ahead, Commissioner.
We good.
all right, but yeah, so if we did we receive those in email? We did. I like to have those prior to the workshop, if at all possible, so we can kind of get familiar with some of those contracts prior to coming into the workshop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any further discussion on this, on the leases? Okay, thank you. Is this a public comment on this particular topic that you want to make? Okay, please come up and fill out a yellow card.
Oh, I just want a liquid kitchen stand for 27 South 12th Street, Black, Florida. I just want to tell you a couple of things about the Larimer. Number one, the Arts Council of Greater Palatka wanted to change their name several years ago in the city of Palatka because they were making, didn't want them to do it, and the Arts Council very graciously stayed, instead of saying Greater Arts Council of the county, they kept the Greater Arts Council of Palatka to accommodate the city, and because they were leasing the building. There hasn't been multiple discussions on the sublease at previous meetings, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I think maybe when Don Holmes was still the city attorney, it's in the record. So that information is available. And the other thing, when you set out the RFP for that building, you must have the city attorney check the reverter clause. The Mellon family, and their wisdom, thank God for the Mellon family, when they deeded the property to the city of Palatka, there's a reverter clause. If the building ever stops being used for public use, it will revert back to the Mellon family. No question, no nothing. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. So before you go out and rent to a private profit entity, you need to make sure that it's going to be used for public use by the city of Palatka, even if the city is subleasing it or leasing it or whatever. So I just want to tell you that, have James West look at that reverter clause before you send out the RFP. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment on this topic? Okay, we will move on to the next agenda item, update acceptance, CRA project coordinator position. Ms. Connie?
Yes, my desire was to give an update that we embarked on the search. We've had at least 10 to 12 applications, maybe more, but those that were relevant. We did schedule interviews. The competition was very intense. The 2 individuals were very highly qualified, and it was very difficult. We finally settled on offering the position to Ms. Kristen Ayala Crane Odom, and we wanted you to just see the kind of background that she's bringing to the table. She seemed to be the individual that would work well with our staff and with the stage of where the CRA is at the moment. We did have other individuals which would be great, exceptional as a CRA manager. The funds to secure a manager is about $80,000 a year, and the budget was $55,000. So we were forced to go to a CRA coordinator as opposed to a CRA manager. And since this was a new budget, new position, we really didn't want to go too far beyond budget. Even to secure Ms. Kristen, I would have to ask that the Board of Commissioners consider extending 5,000 more, because 60,000 is pretty much where she says she would be able to come on board, even though the budget is 55,000. So I did not want to move forward. I mean, I wanted to bring this input.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Mayor, if I may. I have a question, because she's been very vocal with regards to this and very versed with the CRA fund. I would love to hear from the citizens at this point if that's something that they're willing to do, being that they live in those districts, as far as we can make the determination. But again, we have had several citizens who have come up and expressed their interest in making this position. But again, that money is from within their district, so I don't think it'll be up to them to help us make the decision if that's something that we're willing to do.
Okay.
As far as with the moving forward of the $5,000.
Yeah, if you're asking only, should there be an additional $5,000? Yes.
Yeah.
Was that what you're asking?
Yes, I just wanted to hear, again, I know that with some of the funding.
I've been an advocate of certainly getting a manager for quite a while, and I think going with the coordinator at 60,000 for the first year,
Nice.
and especially if she is qualified, as you say, and if she is able to work with staff and make improvements, I think it's a good direction, and certainly well worth the additional $5,000. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I concur as somebody who owns property in both the Central and South TIF district and has a business there. I think we have to invest to get the best person for the job. We have to be willing to pay what is the average salary for this position, the coordinator position, and another 5,000 to secure that person makes perfect sense to me. Commissioner Boren?
I'm totally agree with the, having the position or what have you, but my only question is, I look at the resume and it doesn't show any like economic development or anything along those lines. If we're gonna have somebody in, doing that position, the experience doesn't, I don't know what the job description read,
Right.
but what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like, I don't know if that lines up with the actual role.
Can I?
Yes, go ahead,
Okay.
please.
So in the actual interview, there were more experience brought out that did actually line up. And we really are in a position where we have two individuals that are very qualified for the position. I don't have a problem with meeting with both and looking at it one more time because they both, the other person has a lot more of what you may call project management. I think what led us more towards the person that we're presenting is the fact that they seem to be much more able to work with staff and with where we are at the moment. But we do not have a problem bringing both back in for a final interview.
She has experience, is a grant writer, which is key to this position too, and key to economic development. Neither I didn't see as much experience with the CRA concept and state statute as I would have liked, but that can be learned by attending FRA
Right.
conferences and trainings. But she certainly is overly qualified, if anything else, but she does have that grant. I think that's important to
Right.
have the grant writing background. I think as I said,
And in the
CRA.
current position, she was indicating all of the work that she was doing out in the community. So, but I would like to follow your lead, and if it's okay with the board, I'll bring both of the finalists back in.
Right.
I don't mind.
Yeah, just my only concern is that we've had, this has been a position that was on hold for a while, and we wanted to make sure that we want to get people who can really help the city move forward as
Exactly. Hit the
opposed to
ground running.
struggling, trying to make things happen. I'm all for the position. I'm all for the additional funds,
Okay,
but we don't want to be helping this person along, trying to help improve our business districts.
yes, sir.
Commissioner Jones,
Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
I wholeheartedly agree with Commissioner Borum. However, I would have liked to reviewed these applicants because whether this person come out good or bad, it's going to come back on the CRA board. And I really don't want to give open comments about the applicants on this forum due to the fact that probably a future employee and they may feel a certain way about what I say. And I don't think this is not a good, I'm sorry, this is not a good time to be introduced as somebody that's already, basically you're just telling us you already selected the person, and then give feedback live. That's not a good tactic. And I'm not using, I shouldn't use the word tactic, but that's not a good procedure or process. Because I do have some question about the work experience, to be honest with you. And looking at the resume, you guys say come with a wealth of experience, but I'm looking at the job experience and the longevity on such jobs. So those are things that concern me. And I know we want to have somebody successful coming in, but I just want to at least say my concerns in this form. But I only see one resume. So one resume was presented in this packet. So I don't know what the other person looked like. And you're saying to pay more. However, we don't know what that, we're coming in and we've been doing this on a lot of jobs and with the city. I think we need to the offer, and then maybe after a certain period of success or whatever, come back in and say, okay, after you hit these benchmarks, we can give you more or entertain giving more. So that's just my feedback, and I must give it now because I may not have another opportunity to give it. So
Thank you. Commissioner?
I want us to be mindful of, and I'm gonna ask this question as with respect. This position will be reporting to who?
It will, as the organizational chart is now, it's the city manager.
So I want us to be mindful of reviewing things that falls up under the day-to-day operation. So of us reviewing, again, this call is to be made by the city manager because it is a part of the day-to-day operation.
It
So I
is.
don't want our say to be convoluted or water down the process if we've entrusted our city manager to bring forth a candidate that she feels is qualified for this position, because again, that hire does not fall up under the guidelines or the structure of the city. So I wish that we had legal here just to make sure that we had this. She's here?
She's up on Zoom.
Oh, good. Okay,
Okay.
good. And I just want us to make sure that there is a thin line, but I don't want us to jeopardize the integrity of process because we want to look in it to ourselves, but that's not a part of our position as legislators and not administrators.
I concur with Commissioner Campbell. Commissioner Palacio?
I've had some experience, and at this level, I don't know if it's the same as it is at the county commission, but when I served there prior to, in 2012 to 16, we hired a county attorney, and I requested the, escapes me.
Resumes?
County administrator to, irregardless of his degree and how educated he may be, would he have a working relationship with the board? And just because Mr. Campbell or Commissioner Borum or you like him and I can say, pick him apart or her apart, whatever, I'm just throwing a scenario out there. I think if this protocol at this level, that the whole board should meet with these people individually and get a feel for what they know or don't know. And we may come away, or may walk away with a whole different perspective. Just my thoughts.
Thank you. We aren't the hiring entity, though, for this position. It is the city manager that is the hiring entity. They report to the city manager, not to this board.
I understand that, but they got to have a working relationship here. And if,
Well, I think, yeah, I'm trusting again, as Commissioner Campbell said, the city manager to ensure that this person will be able to work with this board as well as the other staff involved. Ms. West?
No, that's actually quite right. Commissioner Campbell appropriately stated this. This is a hire that is for the city manager exclusively to decide. As you know, the city commission has the exclusive ability to hire the city manager. And so you're deferring to her to make a good hiring decision and a good fit personality wise for the board, but it is her decision. But your input is always welcome. So I'm sure she would be welcome to any insight that you may have on the candidates presented. But it is a hiring decision for the city manager.
Thank you. Commissioner Borum?
So this is just giving us just a preview of what the city manager selection and presenting that to the board just to say, hey, here's we've selected that we think that would be the best for this particular role.
Right. So at this stage, we have interviewed, like I mentioned, and we have two candidates, but one in particular we were actually pursuing, which is the one we put in the packet. But we still would like to look back at the other individual just because the project management skills are so much higher. But as it relates to which one we felt would work better with the city, with the personality, with the stage that the CRA is in, the fact that it's never had this arm, the young lady fitted better. So I wanted you to be aware, and we will finalize this call. We'll really determine which one and let you know the final.
Thank you.
And to the piece where we had talked about prior to the moving forward was that, do we have some milestones, that we would like for this individual to be trying to hit those marks. And I thought that's what we was going to be getting back in, the cleaning up of the job description and role as it related to the other position that we have, which is the grants administrator or what have you, our project manager, because there are some overlapping things there. So if we got all of those things cleaned up before we, move forward, I'm all for it, but I just want to make sure that we're
Okay.
moving forward in the
Alright.
right direction.
So as it relates to the grants project, grants manager, that's for the city as a whole. And those positions have been filled now because we were in a very detrimental situation with two vital positions, managing almost 60, it was a lot of money, 61 projects. So we could not afford to keep that empty. So we are making enormous amount of progress in the grants and projects area. But as it relates to the CRA portion, by bringing this person on board, this person will be able to take some of those projects away from the individual that's managing the city as a whole, because now, even this morning, we all met and said, okay, these are the projects that are under CRA. The new person would be taking these over. Additionally, that person will be intimately involved with the consultant that is now determining that's doing the needs assessment for the expanded CRA district. So we need the person in, but I still appreciate your comments. I appreciate the comments, particularly as we look at the individual we've put here. You don't see that level of the projects that she did handle. And so I'll get more of that information and we'll even bring them back in just for one more
I just
interview.
feel like that's counterproductive.
No, I trust, I mean,
I think we need that.
I think
We don't need that? Okay.
she have explained it and when I understand it sounds
Okay.
good. So
We're
again,
good.
we don't need to be the dead horse, but at the
All
same
right, thank
time,
you.
the level of detail that was described is
Mhm.
really what at least I wanted to know and understand.
Okay,
Yeah, that
thank
person's
you.
focus is the three TIF districts in the CRA and the CRA plan. And from that, they should be able to follow and guide.
And we
Yeah.
gave them the audit findings from prior years so that they can also focus on that.
Okay.
We gave them the CRA plan so that all activity could be in line with that plan as well. So all of that
This
was
is
in the
Linda.
interviewing process.
And lastly, because that was part of the discussion, an additional 5,000 in funding for the salary, that is something this board has to make a decision about. Raising it from 55 to 60,000. Is there anybody who wants to make a motion to do that? Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
I made my point on that, and it was based upon what I see. There could be some benchmarks and then a potential raise to that point after, again, certifying the work. And so that could be 90 days, 60 days, 90 days, what have you. But I definitely would like to have stipulations on it. It is the CRA, and we have to take care of the CRA funds as if there was this, our funds. And I agree with Commissioner Palatka. We could say, yeah, and I understand this, is that hire is of the city manager. It's two elements here that I hope that, we kind of err on the side of caution. We're hiring a person that is an integral part of what's going to go on in the CRA districts. But what we don't have is the other piece. Are they going to be able to work well with the city manager, the new city manager, which we are going to hire? So we don't know that. And so that's something to consider because we're filling a lot of positions. We sort of like the trail we went through the last time. We hired a lot of folk that were not in line with the person that we brought in. So I think we need to be cautious. We're hiring, but it's a fit that we're looking for, a good fit. And I don't know this applicant from Adam. However, I want to say as a whole, no matter who we choose, those things need to be considered. And you're saying that hopefully that work good with the commission. Well, you know, did you talk to the mayor about it? Because somebody had to have some input, because certainly I haven't even heard of an applicant until today. And I think that you could have at least
We,
talked to, excuse me, but no, what I'm saying, you could have at least ran the information of both candidates by each commissioner, and just let us at least have some type of input. And no, we don't make the hire, but again, like Mr. Palacio said, that's being considerate. And thank you. That's all I have to say on that.
I would like Attorney West to really, and it may not have to be at this meeting, but I really think that we need to have some kind of informational about overstepping our boundaries, because I believe that that kind of information or those kind of steps in which could go either way. But I believe that this could, or something like that could possibly lead into litigation, because the very appearance doesn't look good. So I would make that, after we get finished with this, have that discussion with Ms. West, because again, when we dibble and dabble into the day-to-day operations, then we're overstepping our boundaries as legislators. So I just want us I want us to err on the side of caution with regards to that, so we don't put ourselves in a position to jeopardize the integrity. But as far as the request about the 5,000, I don't mind if we do put that clause in there stating that it's a 60 or 90 day.
okay,
I
thank
don't
you.
mind that, just so that it is some skin that is being put in the game. And then that's a compromise, but I don't agree with bringing other individuals back, especially after this meeting, because it could appear to be some dealings that we don't want to put ourselves in positions to have to deal with. So I proceed that we move forward with the applicant that has been presented to us and offer the extension of $5,000 after a 60-day time frame.
Thank you.
And I agree with moving forward with the candidate as presented. I respect the ability of the interim city manager and other staff who interviewed to make a good decision about the hire. Also, to clarify, since you used the mayor's title in vain, Commissioner Jones, I had no input on this whatsoever. I know interviews were going on, but I did not have any input on either candidate. So please, just to clarify, because I stay in my lane, that is not my role. I'm a legislator, not an administrator.
I don't know.
It was
Okay.
for clarity. It was for clarity purposes. I wanted to know, and that's why I asked, Mayor.
No worry. Any further discussion on this topic?
Just a brief one. I know Commissioner Campbell mentioned about the 60. What is the probationary period?
Normally it's 90 days.
Okay. Would you be friendly to
You get you
amend?
get half of it at the 60-day mark and the rest of it at.
All right. Okay.
I don't know if human resources.
I'm just saying, I
is-
just want to at least,
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
And this was a you did the research to determine.
Yeah, we
this
did.
was
The comp for this position was 55 to 59,000, 54,000 to 59.
So starting at 55 is fine. I'm always willing to compromise, but I think it's fair to consider, if a job is well done, to increase that.
And also for clarity, in my weekly meetings with commissioners, I do try to make sure and bring up the various persons that we're looking at, and that was done for this particular position.
Thank you.
Commissioner, you want to make should we make a motion on that piece of it, or just?
If we're comfortable with that, and then up to a max of 60, based on performance over. a certain-
I'm fine with 90 days.
Okay, so somebody please make a motion. Thank you.
wanna go
I
ahead?
made a motion. I'll just make it amendment to we move forward with the 55 offering an extension, offering a raise of the additional $5,000 after the 90-day probation period.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Commissioner Jones?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion passed 5-1.
Okay. Financial report, Ms. Cardi.
The financial report for the 1 month ended October 31, 2024. There are no revenues as of this time. Matter of fact, last week I spoke with the county, and the county was issuing a final certification, a second final certification. So until that process is completed, the funds are not here yet, but we will soon have those funds in the CRA TIP account. And year to date, we have only spent a total of 5,700 in the downtown district, and there was 8,000 spent in the North Historic. And so the total amount spent on page 3, 13,782.
Thank you. Any questions about the financial report? Anyone? Okay. On to the Small Business Development Center.
Good evening, Rick Paul, Small Business Development Center, 1100 Reed Street. Welcome Commissioner Palatka.
Palacia.
Palatka.
I'm sorry about
It's
that.
not a disease.
Yes, huh?
I would like to say kudos to the Porch Festival. I thought it was fantastic. The band that they had for the finale, the guy that played that guitar, an amazing guitar, Gibson L6, by the way, is the same guitar that George Benson used. It's not the same actual
That's
guitar.
the
but
same type of.
Same type, a Gibson L6, and they had a special name for it. One of the sweetest sounding guitars I've ever heard. In fact, I think could very well be one of the best bands that's ever been brought into the city. Phenomenal production. So kudos to all the Porch Fest folks. Also to the city staff for that 5-year strategic plan meeting that was, what was it, last week or something like that? I think that went very well. I think this is, I don't know, 4th, 5th, 6th, 10th time we've kind of heard the same thing. But that's consistency. And if you go back and look at the notes, you'll find that all the people in the town pretty much want the same thing. So I think it gives you a very good leg to go forward.
It does.
As to what the demands and what the people are wanting for here. The website link, hopefully to the SBDC, I don't know if you have to vote on that or if Peter's not here, to have a link on the city website to the SBDC.
Okay.
Remember, we're partners. I'm trying to get anybody in the historic district and in the city of Palatka to come to see me so I can help them with our free one-on-one confidential small business management consulting services. It might also be good to have a little blurb in the newsletter that goes out occasionally with the same thing. I
Okay.
don't know if you have to vote on that or what that
No.
issue is.
No.
No.
Last month, I went to the FREDA, which is Florida Rural Economic Development Association meeting. This one was in Orlando at the World Equestrian Village. Fantastic organization based upon rural communities in the state of Florida. I spent quite a bit of time talking with the city of Chipley commissioners. And a lot of the city commissioners go to these meetings and get up on all the latest things that all the other rural communities are doing. And what a fantastic job the city of Chipley did after, I believe it was Hurricane Michael, pretty much, well, didn't level there down, but pretty close to it. That was a category 6, basically, when it landed. So phenomenal job. I would highly encourage you to put in your budget to attend next year's FREDA. I believe it will be at World Golf, or not World Golf Village, World Equestrian.
Is that in Ocala?
In
or-
Ocala.
Ocala, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Okay.
And the more the commissioners that could go to it and staff, the better, because you'll start to network with these people and find out what's working in their communities, how they rebuilt and so forth. Coming up, I've got some workshops planned. I have 2 dates picked out already for some of them, and some of them are yet to be determined. The Small Business Development Center and the SBA, thanks to Donnie Anderson. We're teaming up to do 2 workshops. The first one will be January 21st. It will be with Heidi Simos. She's the entrepreneur source. It's going to be mostly about franchising, so entrepreneurship and franchising. Now, with that particular one, I believe we're 100% virtual. But we'll still be getting the flyers out to that, and I'll be glad to hand those out once I get the flyers. The next one with the SBDC and the SBA is going to be concerning small businesses and the IRS. I believe that one will be both in person and virtual. We haven't worked out the details on that, but that's February 4th. The Small Business Development Center of St. Johns County and Putnam County, City of Palatka, are going to join forces and put forth a workshop, a series of workshops. It's been done in St. Augustine for the last 3 or 4 years, I believe, maybe a little longer, on how to turn your side hustle into a business. This one will be held in Hastings. And I figured that was a good intermediate location where anybody from the city or the county could join up with the people over there. So we're trying to get folks from both counties to come together for that one. That will be a series. I believe that's going to be like a 4-nighter, but I think it's once or twice a week for a week or 2. So that's basically how to start your business type of seminar. We'll be bringing in bankers and other professionals to talk about that. Other SBDC events coming up. Customer service, I believe, Commissioner Borum, we were at your town hall meeting and that came up. An individual had a big question about customer service. And I said that was a workshop I was planning on getting to. I don't have a date for it. I do have the presenters, but no date yet. So that's to be determined. And also I've got a good one on marketing coming up. It's about using, sounds a little funny, but AI in marketing. And it should be a really good workshop. And the good news is that the presenter is also a marketing person in Putnam County, and they're offering a very steep discount for Palatka and Putnam County folks to come in and start using this service. I think it's like $100 a month to start with. Very inexpensive because he's willing and able to provide services to help beef up the businesses that are here. And that's one of the things that, we aspire to do. With that being said, are there any questions?
No. Does anybody have any questions? No.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Commissioners, and have a wonderful evening.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion for the board?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Third.